Dear friends, welcome back. I hope you had a great lunch, and I also hope that you are ready for one of the hardest parts of the day. To build true resilience, we need to know our weakest points. And in this session, we will describe our absolute weakest spots and try to find ways to build resilience and also look forward. And the title of the session is How Strong is European Democracy? Is it stronger than we think or weaker than we fear? I believe that maybe we have thought we have been too strong for too long. And in the next session, I will be joined in a conversation with a man who has an experience that is very rare. He is both a war correspondent, a former member of parliament and former advisor to the Prime Minister of Romania. Remus Cernea, please join me here on stage. And as you take a seat, just enlighten the audience.
Stay there. Yeah.
Yes, please. That you have been a war correspondent in Ukraine.
Yes. I'm still working, and then I will go back in Ukraine at the end of May or beginning of June.
And you have also worked as a political advisor in Romania.
Yes.
And you have stated that you feel more safe in a war zone in Ukraine than you feel in your own country. Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, I'm used to speak about Ukraine as a war correspondent in the last 3 years, but today I will speak more as a hybrid war correspondent in Romania, because Romania is under a huge threat. And we had elections yesterday. We had elections also in November and December last year. And unfortunately, the extremist parties and the extremist candidates succeeded to get a lot of votes. And of course, this was the hand of Russia. It's without any doubt.
But someone is doubting that. Who is that?
Those who support Russia. There is a hybrid war, a real hybrid war. I was a witness in Ukraine in the last 3 years of the fact that Ukrainians are defending their country, doing a lot of sacrifices and demonstrating a lot of bravery. Unfortunately, Romania might fall in the hands of Russia without being necessary to fire any bullet, any drone or any missile to Romania. Because this hybrid war is about human minds. And Russia had a very insidious and very successful plan to corrupt human minds.
In what way? How should what tools do they use?
Yeah, it was mentioned a few speeches before that we have to see what democracy delivers. But I think that the main question is about the thoughts and the values and the ideas that we can share with the young people, with the young generations, and with everyone, of course, because democracy cannot survive without a strong majority of people who share the democratic values. So I think that we have to talk more about Plato, about Socrates, about Aristotle, about Voltaire, about Thomas Hobbes, David Hume, Karl Popper, and so on. And if we will understand that it's important to make our minds to think democratically, we can defend ourselves. We can defend our minds, and we need a kind of mobile defense. We don't need only walls to protect our minds. We have to develop critical thinking and a strong democratic education. Without this, we are very vulnerable in these kind of situations like hybrid war started by Russia. Imagine that Russia, just a detail, but very important. Imagine that Russia paid a lot of influencers in Romania And these influencers, they didn't say, I will vote for someone. But they imagine that they get altogether about 80 million followers on TikTok. And they just said something like, we need a respectful president. But the campaign of the pro-Russian candidate was, we need a respectful president. And now, because the elections were renewed, maybe some of you don't know this, the presidential elections were renewed in December because of this pro-Russian interference. And of course they were renewed. It's like in sports. Yeah? If you have an athlete that is not competing correctly, of course you can take his medal away, even if he is a winner or she. So this happened in December, and Constitutional Court, because in democracy, democracy is not mainly about elections. It's mainly about values and about rules. It doesn't matter if you win the elections, but you break the rules.
Elections have to be free and fair, absolutely. But
Yeah.
when you are presenting the story, that many share, and you say, of course, the election was annulled.
Yeah.
But there's also a different story, since you said that this is a hybrid war on values and on truth. Also, our closest ally has been telling a different story about the annulment. About this is an undemocratic elite who is holding, who is being a judge over what is good and bad politics. And while the European democracy is discussing whether you should use Voltaire or what kind of quotes you should use, this story is setting. How do you manage to restore the truth about what happened in Romania in December?
Very good question. Truth is based on facts, and we have to look at the facts with logic and reason. So there is a huge amount of proofs that it was an involvement of state actors that corrupted the Romanian elections. Those who contest this contest also the truth. And it's not only the Romanian secret services that prove that it was a Russian interference, but there are also secret services from other countries and a lot of journalists who investigate this bring more and more proofs. Of course, anyone can have an opinion, but any opinion has no value without strong proofs. So, our ally in Washington, of course, they tried to criticize Romania instead of defending Romania, because Romania is under the hybrid war started by Russia. But also, the current president of the United States said that Ukraine started the war against Russia. So, we cannot count on such kind of allies. This is unfortunately, this is the unfortunate truth. Of course, I respect a lot the democratic, American democratic values, but I cannot respect too much a president or an administration that dismisses the truth. And yes, right now we can see in Washington that Russia has an influence over the current administration, Trump administration.
How can we see that?
Because many statements of Trump or other members of the administration were in favor of Russia and against Ukraine and of course against Romania and against Europe. Because this hybrid war was successfully tested in Romania, but you will have also elections, I'm not sure when. And all of the European democratic countries will have elections. Be sure that the Russians will try to do something. I don't know how, why, and when, but this operation, this special operation in Romania, starting according to the French secret services, started in 2023, when the Russians tried to support and promote the extremist parties in Romania. We have 3 extremist parties that also succeeded to get about 35% of the seats in the parliament. And now we had elections, the first round of elections, because they were repeated after the annulment of elections in December. Yesterday we had the first round of the presidential elections. Guess what? The first one is a different one, pro-Russian candidate. And how about his platform? How about his promises? Do you think that he spoke about education, about health, about investment, about, I don't know, anything else you can think about when you are watching a politician? No. He said only that if he will be elected, he will put as a prime minister the previous pro-Russian candidate. That one that, because of the elections were annulled in December. So, no platform, no political ideas, just mysticism. Oh, we Romanians, we're great, we're the greatest, we have to decide for ourselves, let away Europe, let away NATO, we have to, a very, very populist speech. And I have this bottle with me, not to drink in front of you, but to tell you that the previous pro-Russian candidate, Georgescu is his name, he said that if you drink cola or Pepsi, inside the drink there are some nanochips that are controlling you, your mind. So take care, don't tell me that I didn't warn you. Take care.
But speaking about this, so these election results came last night,
yes.
And now we have 2 weeks before the next
yes.
round. And the numbers I saw was that this pro-Russian candidate, as you call him, got amount of 40% of votes. And these are not votes. These are real people who have cast a vote.
Yeah.
So can you tell a little bit about the mechanisms behind? Because 40% of Romanian people are also 40% that should be trusted and given respect. So how can the established parties win the trust of these voters, do you think?
Yeah, very good point. The established parties are in disarray, the mainstream parties, the Social Democrats, the Liberals, and there is a Reformist Party. All of them are in disarray now. Many of the presidents, I think, that will leave. Because it's a huge failure of the Romanian political class, of course, but the main failure is the failure of the educational system in the last 5 years. Because instead of promoting in schools democratic values, in schools actually, in many cases, they indoctrinated children with religious values, but not religious values in a sense of ethical values. Religion in a sense of dogmatic, mystic approach. And this is a way to accept easier the populist speeches, the demagogic speeches and approaches, political approaches. And because of this, we have a huge number of young people who voted for extremists. But I want to thank to Moldova. The Romanians from the Republic of Moldova voted in favor of democracy. 52% of them voted for the candidate, the pro-European candidate that was the second one, because the first two will stand for elections in the second round in 2 weeks, May 18th. But in Moldova was that because the people of Moldova, the Romanians there, understand very well the danger of Russia. That's why this pro-reform and pro-Europe candidate had their 52%. And the second one there was another pro-European candidate with about 20 and something percent. And this extremist candidate got only 12% in Moldova, so very low. Anyway, it is a fight. We have to fight, we have to do anything we can to make this second candidate to win in 2 weeks. But if he will not win, Romania will become very soon a kind of Hungary or Slovakia or even worse, Serbia or Belarus. So it's a real threat. That's why you quoted me when I said that I feel safer when I go to Ukraine, even when I'm standing under the Russian bombardments in the cities or on the front lines, than in Romania. Because in Romania, the supporters of these extremist parties and these extremist candidates are very violent. They are threatening everyone who speaks against them. And even a famous actor in Romania who is 90 years old now, and he's a legend for Romanian cinematography, even he was threatened that he will be killed in a very brutal manner because he supports pro-European values.
Thank you very much. You will join us in the further panel discussion. And as I invite our other panelists, Markus Leve, Mayor of Münster, he is representing local governance perspective, and he is from Germany. We are also joined by Mr. Vajac. He is a specialist in community integration from the UK. He has worked with and advised over 30 UK local authorities, please take a seat, and regional governmental agencies on matters of social policy, integration, and also working with faith institutions. We are also joined by Jeppe Albers, CEO of Nordic Safe Cities. Nordic Safe Cities safeguard local democracy and counteract polarization. So you're a very natural part of this panel, Jeppe. Thank you very much. Your alliance worked throughout the Nordic region to develop and pioneer new initiatives with authorities, cities, organizations, and young people that can create more safe, security, and social cohesion. What have you learned about don'ts?
Sorry?
What have you learned about don'ts? During your work, have you experienced something that a government should not do if they try to share your goals?
Well, yes, I have for the past 10 years. Maybe if I can get to the answer, Mark, I think in terms of the question you state for the entire panel, if democracies are in danger, are they weaker than we think? I think they are stronger than we talk about here. Yet,
fantastic, please elaborate. You are on the ground every day, so you have the expertise.
At least from where I live, which is in the Nordic countries. But we cannot take it for granted, because from Romania, but from Moldova, but from other places around Europe now, where the situation is different. What works and what we need to work on to kind of remain a democratic fabric in the Nordic region. And now is three things, and I think that could be democracy fertilizer, maybe also for European partners. The first one, my point being, and there was a saying we heard from the Vice President from the Nordic Council, is around trust. It's the first line of defense here in the Nordic region. We must protect it, evolve it, defend it. If you go around the Nordic region here, you see cities, capitals, mid-sized cities, where there's a very high level of trust, over 70% in most areas to the democratic systems and norms and to each other. Yet some neighborhoods and areas have only 31, for example, percentage of trust and participation in democracy. So there's a lot about breaking segregation, creating a unity around trust that is a vital component. And some politicians are deliberately breaking trust, being super divisive, creating fear, and not reaching out to people. Second point being, you have to create belonging, make people feel, seen, heard, because if they are heard, they will open up and be a little bit more part of democracy. Invest in spaces of agreement, even though democracy can be very messy, and people don't agree and they don't come from the same starting point. That should be another lesson, and I think we've seen from European politics and from Nordic politics that that's not the case everywhere, and that has backfired. 10 years ago we were talking about radicalization. 5 years ago it was 4 and 5 years. Now it's information manipulation and algorithms. But it's a little bit the same idea of you need secure societies and safe cities. You should have belonging, inclusion, and trust and society. And my third last comment, I'll make it brief, where I think I agree a bit with what has been said here from the Romanian colleague, also we heard from Moldova earlier. The new frontier of prevention is the digital space. It's not new, but this is where we need to step up, also in the Nordics and everywhere, from intellectual interference, hybrid threats, hybrid attacks to discrimination. And I don't think we can stick with just digital literacy. We need to embrace technology, move on to social media platforms, and engage much more in new forms of innovations on digital prevention. And that's where we a little bit are lacking in the Nordic region. And I think also that could inspire for more European action to not be that much afraid of all the tactics that actually many of the more extreme parties deploy in the space.
Thank you very much, and it's natural to go to you, Sukash. And trust is not something you can buy for money. In Norway, we have we have a big light installment in one of the big cities, where the word trust is written in lightning. And that's not how you can't build trust by lighting up a building, but you have a long experience of building trust in local areas. Do you share Jens' perspectives on what works and especially what does not work? Sometimes governments and institutions try their best and go the wrong path. Can you please tell us a little bit about this from your perspective in your work?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I was reflecting on the panel, and I was looking at the election results in the UK that just took place 4 days ago. We went through a democratic process called Brexit, which was a political earthquake in the UK, and now we're seeing tremors following that earthquake. That was a democratic exercise, and most commentators say that was a democratic miscalculation.
In what way?
To basically ask the people, do they want to go leave the European Union? But it was a democratic process. On the Richter scale, you could say that was an earthquake from 9 to 10 scale. And since that time, we are receiving the aftershocks in the UK. And the aftershock, just 4 days ago, a political party that did not even exist 4 years ago, on Monday won 677 seats, took control of 10 local authorities, major local authorities, added to their count in the national parliament, and now is a major political voice in the United Kingdom. And various political parties in Europe are looking at this phenomenon, whether digitally, technologically, narratives, ethics, values, ideas. I was just speaking to a colleague at lunchtime talking about, is this democratic? Is this the process that we wish to take? Are these the values we wish to amplify? And the question is that if you play the same game, you have to expect the same result. So the challenge I think that democracies are facing now, and I think the gentleman, my colleague here, was talking about who's allowed to play in the game. These questions are now being come, well, you're allowed and you're not allowed. In Germany, we saw the description of a particular party being declared as an extremist and may not be able to vote. A political leader in France completely disqualified from being in the election. We are facing a major internal challenge about narratives, what is allowed, what are the parameters of the game. Because the people who wish to destroy our democracies are playing within the game but using different rules.
And that's changed in Germany in the discussion among this, and we were talking about it earlier, but also have you reflected a little bit about the AfD rise? It wasn't as far as many, it didn't get as many voters as many feared, but do you think that there's a correlation between the rise of Danzig Deutschland and the explanations we have now heard? What is your explanation for people in Germany who cast their vote to a party that is now found as extremist?
First of all, it is depends on especially in the eastern Germany or in the former industrial complex Ruhr area. There are high votes from the AfD, In other countries, in other quarters of other cities, like our cities, this is not a high quote from the AFP. But I think this is a problem, this is a challenge, I think, but we are also here to look for solution. And first of all, I think it is necessary to look about the situation, how we can reach young people. So there is a linear TV, nobody looks linear TV. We have a high social media complex. We have TikTok. State administration don't need and use TikTok because they thought by themselves it's a Chinese project. And so the question is how we can reach them. What is the speciality of our speech to reach and how we can involve them. And this is the first question. I think we need rules for social media. So on the one side, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, we have banknotes, and nobody is allowed to fake banknotes. But everybody can fake information. Why? Why we don't have any rules for? This is also, I think, a necessary issue from us together in the European Union, and I think also in the international law, to organize a speciality for a special group for internet communication. And the third point is we need a high quality education storm. We need more and more, because this is the same answer of the same situation. For migrants, also for young people, we have to strengthen the immune system for information. Sometimes young people thought by themselves it's a huge danger, but it isn't a danger. On the other side, there's reality, and it is very dangerous, but nobody has a feeling. We mentioned about the situation in Romania. So this is the same situation. So in this combination, and last but not least, I think I'm not also the mayor from Münster, but also the president from the German City Association, and we create an international urban diplomacy product. This is so necessary that we come more and more together. Kristiansand is our twin city, but not only. And last year we organized a special conference between mayors from the United States and mayors from Germany. And the idea is, despite this administration, despite the presidencies and other things, we are able to react much more agile. We can combine the huge challenges, climate protection, for example, climate adaptation. We have wonderful ideas, we can connect together, we have a knowledge exchange, and this is the future. I think some years ago there was an idea mayors rule the world. I think it is much more necessary than now.
Absolutely, and I think working together like that, building networks like that, I think that is a very fruitful way to go. And let me just go into one of the core explanation reasons on why Alternative Deutschland rose. And I talked to them when I was covering the election, and they told me that Angela Merkel helped them by saying, we can do it, wir schaffen das. Because there were many people who didn't feel that they could. And when it comes to, I'm interested in, and also the perspectives from the UK and Nordic cities, how do you work strategically to include the people who came to Germany or to the UK or to the Nordic countries, to include them in our democracy system and to make sure that they're also a part of our democracy, so that more people actually feel that we can do it?
First of all, I think after the question, wir schaffen das, the answer, wir schaffen das, or we can do it, is the next point. How are the people in the state able to believe this? This is most of the. We have to be honest. We have. I think sometimes I have the feeling that the politicians are not honest enough, because we live now in an epochal change situation, and a lot of things will be changed for the future. But nobody is able to speak about it. So we have to spend a lot of money for defense and for climate protection and other things. And so we have to lose some other important things, but also we have preserved infrastructure for education, for social balance and so on. But we have to be honest, and we have to be honest to say that the state is not able to get for all those things solution. We are also in a situation of responsibility, the first point. The second point was the refugees. I think our city, we organized a refugee system more than 20 years ago, and so we have small units with 50 people in the districts and all over the whole city, and not huge units with 400 or 500 people in one ghetto or other things. And so the integration success is much more higher then you have a huge situation, and the people don't have any fear about it. Okay, it is so. It is not for 500 people, 500,000 people. This is okay, but with the number of refugees we now have, we are able to get a solution. Therefore, we have education systems. The children are able to spend the kindergarten in schools, and so I think we have to look to the wonderful solutions, and they are creative. And so a lot of them from the migration are now employees, and they found special companies and other things. We spend now Arabian food. It's also very good, I think. So, and this is the positive narrative we have to speak about. It is possible, but it is possible when the state knows that integration is much more than housing. It's also education. It is also health system. All the things. That is the reality, and I think that we have to be here honest with this situation.
Thank you very much. And how is this discussion in the UK? Are we following the same and the right path to battle fear against other nationalities and other religions?
I think, first of all, democracy is an exercise in power. People feel, for many decades, that power has not been exercised either by the right people or exercised in the wrong way. What I see at the moment is that actually social media, digital communication is empowering people that had no voice before, or felt that they had no voice. So this exercise of digital engagement in the process of democracy, is empowering elements within our communities that felt voiceless before and now are empowered. But the power calculation has always felt that those people that didn't have power may never be involved in power because we never informed them, but now they're informed. And that imbalance now is having an effect on the status quo. The status quo has fundamentally shifted and is continuously shifting. Within the equation of the status quo, the power structures, the mayors, the previous politicians. I mean, like if you take the UK, the Conservative Party and the Labour Party are now on the person who won the election on Monday said explicitly, I have destroyed the Conservative Party. A party that established the democratic foundations of Britain is ultimately saying, I'm there to destroy you. Very powerful, provocative words. Within that context, which themes of power, whether they are the existing elite, whether it's the migrant communities, whether it's power structures that run this country or any other country for that matter, how are they going to play this equation?
Jeppe, do you have the answer to that?
I don't. But unfortunately, I will not to, but I'm happy to share a few examples.
Thank you.
Before Jeppe, can I just offer that?
No, I'm sorry, I just gave the word to him.
So,
You exercise your power.
It's invested in me.
in terms of the integration tensions in the region of the Nordic region where I work the most, I think, it's again the issue of some neighborhoods that are very culturally, financially, economically segregated. So this is kind of what we've done wrong in the Nordic region for the past 10 years in many places. So in terms of going there, giving opportunity, making people feel heard, seen, making them part of society, everyone there, that has not played out well. That's also, in my perspective, kind of the backlash of the quote-unquote Swedish condition in terms of crime and anti-democratic behavior. So there's something we have to do better in terms of really growing inclusive neighborhoods in the classic Nordic manner. And there we have a lot, I think, to learn from integration from the US or other kind of open culture spaces where it's more open, not like a monoculture, the way you people in. So there we can do better. And it's also, I think you can follow Nordic politics and see that, for example, Denmark, where I'm from, most parties today have something that would be considered a rather strict immigration line 10 years ago. So there's a mainstreaming of letting new people into the country. But also, that's one thing I think that will happen also in migration in Scandinavia. It will be more like that in the next 5-7 years. but also improving the integration of what actually works, and really giving people and young people a voice truly in democratic society, while still facing some of the tough challenges there are in terms of culture, etc. So, yeah.
Absolutely, living together and believing, coming from different countries or religions or cultures, that is European. That is Europe. That is what we're building. And we have a question from the audience, but let me just ask you, when you hear about these stories from the UK, the election there, from the election in Germany, and it's also interesting to see that from the German election, the party Die Linke, they actually rose quite quickly because of one thing. They used TikTok and had a very strategic social media campaign. But when you see these examples they are so equal, it's like they're using the same playbook.
Yeah.
What should be the democratic playbook? The counter playbook?
I think in the first chapter of this playbook, we have to think about this question. Can a democracy allow to a kind of a Hitler to stand for elections? Because sometimes you can turn a democracy in a tyranny through elections. Yeah, this happened in Germany, and this happened in other countries, and this could happen in Romania these days. This might be the last days of freedom in my country. And let me put short questions for the audience. You can answer by applauding or by raising the hands. Who wants to live in democracy forever? But who wants to fight for democracy? And the last one, who's willing to die for democracy? So, not so many, but so this is the example of Ukrainians. We need more Ukrainians to defend our democracies all over Europe, because the war just started. Russia will try to destroy our democracies in the next years and decades. They will not stop. They can only be stopped. Otherwise, we will become a kind of pro-Russian countries or a semi-democracy, semi-authoritarian regimes.
Thank you. We have time for one question from the audience, and that it doesn't say which country this is from, but it says, my country has a strong democracy. Our right-wing government is not interested in serving, but the interest of a selected few. Our right-wing government is only interested in serving the interest to a selected few. We can elect a new government, but how do we go forward with such polarization? How is it? So I guess the question is, how is it possible to fight polarization that is already there? I don't think we have time to open, but maybe Marcus, or maybe you can, from the German perspective, give us some advice there.
I think we need discussion, not polarization. And so in 1648, it was a location for building the peace building for the Westphalian peace after the 30-year war. And the most important thing was, before they create a system of peace, of treaty, then they ask themselves, are we able to respect that there are different realities, the reality of the Protestant groups and the reality of the Catholic groups? And if they don't able to respect this, they are not able to create an order. And I think it's the same situation like today. We have a lot of bubbles. We have the bubble of one reality, and we don't respect reality from the other group. We are not able to listen to them. And this is a problem we have. Because if we are not able to listen to them, if we are not able to open our bubble, we have on one side the moral hegemony, we are the better people, and on the other side we have the people that thought that we are right wing and we have the best solution for the future. And nobody is able to speak together. And I think we are the adults, therefore, here we are all here. We are fighting for democracy. That we use this possibility to open the bubble, that we are able to listen to the different groups. This is, I think, the prerequisite for democracy. And I think we lost this prerequisite, and we have to do much more, therefore, that we are able to open bubbles.
Thank you very much. It feels like It's very hard to end such an interesting discussion with such an enlightened panel that we have, but we have a new speaker coming up, so I have to make that bubble. The last point of this panel, thank you so much for sharing your insights. I'm looking forward to following your upcoming important work, and thank you very much for the work that you're doing for us every day. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I'd like to invite up Katja Kuridovi, the parliamentarian and chair of the PASE Committee on Equality and Non-Discrimination, to tell us about how PASE is working with these exact questions that we have been addressing. Please take the stage, and thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is following. Please.
So thank you so much.